Alright, we've seen some examples where we added fractions that had the same denominators, and it was nice. They were quick and easy because you just added the numerators and you were essentially done. But generally your denominators will not match, and then we have a little more work to do. As you saw in the notes, there are two techniques for adding numbers like this. One where you leave them in mixed form, and another, which I'll do over on the right side, where you change the numbers to improper fractions. They're both good. You should know how to use them both. The mixed number technique is perhaps a little faster, but more difficult. The improper fraction is maybe a little longer but easier, and it's certainly worth knowing them both. In both cases, you need a common denominator. So for this, 8 and 2, the common denominator will be 8. This fraction's already in eighths, so I don't have to do anything with it. 1/2, if I want to convert it to eighths, I'm going to multiply by 4 and multiply by 4 downstairs as well. Do that and you get 3 and 3/8 plus 2 and 1 times 4 makes 4, 2 times 4 makes 8. So we have 2 and 3/8 plus 3 and 3/8 plus 2 and 4/8. When you add these, you add the fractions. 3/8 plus 4/8 makes 7/8. And then, once that's done, you add the whole numbers. 3 plus 2 makes 5. Answer 5 and 7/8. Take a look at the fraction you've made, 7/8, and consider if you can reduce it at all. In this case you can't, but always take a look. You'll get red ink on your work if you don't have these fractions down as low as they'll possibly go. Now, there's a second technique for adding these same sort of numbers where you convert them to improper fractions before you do anything else. Let's take a look at that one. It's not all that different, but certainly some variation. 3 and 3/8 plus 2 1/2. If you change this to an improper fraction, you remember the technique is multiply then add. So 8 times 3 is 24, plus 3 is 27/8. Next fraction, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5/2. So far so good. Now we need a common denominator. You always need that. Again, the common denominator is eighths. Again, this first fraction is already in eighths. We don't need to do anything with it. Second denominator, I'm going to multiply by 4 to get eighths, and I must also multiply upstairs by 4. Do that and you get 27/8 plus 5 times 4 is 20/8. Add those up and you have 47/8. That's a perfectly good answer. It's improper. If you want to change it back to a mixed number like we have here, the way you do it is you take 47 and divide it by 8, because that's exactly what this fraction means. Top number divided by bottom number. 8 goes into 47 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. 47 minus 40 leaves 7. Now you remember how you read this? Start at the top and go clockwise. Your answer is 5. Go clockwise around to 7/8. Two techniques give the same answer, which is always nice to see.